I'd love to hear your ideas on the intersect of creativity and psychology. You're mentioning that you've been working on a lot of that recently, so I don't know where you'd like to start on that.
Yeah, I mean, as I shared right at the beginning, I didn't have my creativity until my early 30s. And so when it came back, and it came back with a flurry, and all of a sudden there's 23 kids' books, I started to really pay attention to it. And one of the projects that I did in early 2010 was a quirky project where I went out and invited people to donate poetry for the people of Haiti. And it was just after this huge tsunami and earthquake that had happened there. And uh, it's a longer story, but the net of it is that I've watched 2,500 poems be spontaneously written in the streets of the UK for me and my alter ego of the poem catcher, who was out at the time with a butterfly catching net in my kilt, getting people to write poetry. And I didn't know that I was making a pseudo-scientific case study on how creativity moves through the human energy system. But I had just finished these 4 years of training at Healing School. I was viewing the world through the lens of energetics, and I was watching. And then as my client base has grown and my therapeutic work, it's fascinating for me that so many people have great ideas, and then somehow those ideas don't get what they need to come to fruition. The idea is either the moment an idea shows up, the first thing that happens afterwards is this voice of negativity, and that are echoes from childhood that come and go, this probably won't work. Why bother? It's not that important. Now, funny, we just read the hug story. It's all the sticky thoughts that were in the hug story. It's the
Right.
same thing. But I was very interested that it always happens. That the moment there's a creative impulse, it's immediately followed by a whole range of these negative thoughts that actually, then my question is like, well, if they always happen, it doesn't help for us to make them wrong, like as if they shouldn't happen. Instead, I wanted to take a wider view of wholeness that says, okay, they must be here serving some sort of a purpose. And in fact, that purpose, I believe, is in service to the fulfillment of the creative vision. It's just part of the safety system that comes up. And it's right that as we leave the cave, we look left and right and make sure there's no saber-toothed tigers. It's not right for us to then stop and go back into the cave. If there's no saber-toothed tigers, we must keep going. And so I'm mapping out the stages of the creative process, and from this first impulse through to the first negative thoughts, through to what it takes to refocus. The thresholds we've got to cross. So much of our creativity happens within us, unseen by the world. And then there's a threshold, like when I did my first story, I had to cross and go, I've made a leap and I've made something. Here it is. It's physical. You can hold it up. You can look at it, and the world can critique it and can give it feedback. And then I've got to metabolize that feedback. I've got to make sense of it. I've got to go back into my interior at the end of the day and go, was that a day well lived? Did I survive it existentially?
Right.
The feedback and the opinions. And what have I decided about my world for tomorrow? Have I decided that I should probably never try anything creative again because it was such a disaster, which might have been a painful injury that folks know from when they were young? Or have I decided that I can iterate, I can reiterate, I can take the things that I learned and I can infuse them in, and I can come out and I can improve the story that I'm making, or I can make another painting and improve it, or learn another song. And it doesn't matter that I fumbled the chords yesterday when I was singing it. Today, I'm allowed the journey of the practice and without my psychology slamming on the brakes and stopping my creative self-expression.